Well, hey everybody, we're back with another tips and tricks video. This video is going to be a follow-up on my how to draw caricature video I put out a while back. One of the things that I run into, and one of the things back when I was a newer artist, one of the things that really challenged me was hair. So I feel like I need to do, if I'm going to do another type of video like this, I'm going to do this one about hair. Now, for the sake of time on these, I'm not going to draw the full face. I'm just going to do the outline, and I'm going to focus on the hair. So I'm going to start with this little girl right here. I'm just going to put her face shape in. And incidentally, I'm using these universal chisel tips. Now, the first thing to remember with hair is obviously it grows out from the scalp. One of the things I see a lot with newer artists or people who haven't been doing this very long is they have a tendency to try to disregard the hair. They focus so much on the face that a lot of times the hair gets ignored or it'll get oversimplified. And hair is important. Actually, everything's important. But yeah, so I'm going to start just show you, kind of go through this like I did my other video, and just kind of show you the strokes I make, and hopefully that'll explain a lot. The first thing is, remember, like I said, hair grows out from the scalp, and it's going to have an overall shape that it creates, but it's also going to have direction as well. So I like to start with usually the part of the hair. For this little girl, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with and get those big sweeping strokes to just give you that general direction of the hair. The trick is to get as much information on the paper with as few strokes as possible when you're working on speed, because obviously I'm talking about again, live caricature situations. Okay, so I just came across the top and made the top of her head. I'm going to put a few strokes in there, like there again, to indicate direction, but I'm not going to focus on drawing every single strand of hair, because if you do that, obviously you'd be there all day. And then of course I'll come down the side and I'll create some curls here. There again, focusing on, you know, the overall, I'm looking at the overall shape that it creates. And when I make those large sweeping motions, I will move more from the whole arm and shoulder, but I'll create my little fine strokes with my hand movements. So there's that side, obviously. She had an ear in there, but like I say, I'm not really focusing on the face on these. I'm just going to focus more on the actual hair. Now, there again, like I said, I am using a chisel tip marker. It's going to be slightly different depending on what type of marker you use, but the overall idea stays the same. And there you go, there's her hair. And also, real quickly, before I move on, the two major strokes that I use to create the curls and things in here is, one is an S stroke, and practice. You need to practice being loose. So S, and maybe a couple lines, and try to vary it up, and you know, don't try to make the same pattern over and over, but you'll have to really just practice being loose with it. And the same thing on the other side. Another challenge when it comes to hair, and true with any part of the caricature, is if you're left or right-handed, there's always going to be a weak side for you. There's one side that's going to be your strong side, and the other one's going to be a little harder to do. Okay, I'm going to move on to this young man right here, and he has kind of some short, messy hair. There again, let's just kick in a little face shape real quick for a placeholder. All right. I'm left-handed, so I generally start and work, you know, across this way. That's my strong, I guess you say my strong. I'm strongest when I work that way. So, and it's almost like a dagger stroke when you're creating like those little dark areas like that. So you'll come across, and this guy's got some messy hair, so I almost got like a calyx. There I'm doing that dagger stroke, just kind of whipping it out. And then you want to throw a couple other directions in there. But you can look at the top of his head right there, and you can see where it's actually coming out from his skull, from his scalp. There are other videos that go into this a lot more in depth. I'm just trying to give you guys a general idea for this. And shading. So, you know, as things recede, you'll have some shading, but so you can come in with some lines. And of course, the darker the hair is, the more that you'll put into it. But when you're working with speed, you're also going to not get too bogged down into shading shading every little hair in. You're going to try to put it down quickly. So there, you know, of course, a couple direction lines never hurt. The thing that I've found with hair is a lot of times, obviously, in true with any type of quick caricature, less is more. You want to put enough information down to show that person's characteristic, but not so much that you get bogged down in the details. That's how you keep these things quick. Okay, we're going to move on to... All right, let's move on to some curls, because not everybody has straight hair. Now curls, I like to refer to them sometimes as an organized mess, and I mean that in the best possible way. You can really just get crazy with curls. When I draw somebody with a lot of curls, I always like to start, obviously, usually, as you can notice, I always start kind of with the shape of the face, but looking at the big overall picture here, I'm actually going to come in. I'm not a fan of people putting down like pencil lines or anything, but you can even come in and draw a quick little, very, very light, just kind of an indication of where you want to go. And I usually like to start at the crown. And there again, I'm doing that quick, just really getting crazy with it and just kind of outlining the whole thing. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the other direction. And don't be afraid to have a couple of hairs, you know, loose hair sticking out. That kind of adds character to the hair, and it also adds an element of fun to the caricature. And then I'm going to come back in on the inside and just finish out my shapes here. Same thing. And if you'll notice, like right around the face, it's going to be your darkest areas. And I've experimented with different methods of coloring in darker hair. And you can as well. I mean, if you want to try to do it with a marker, you can. But there again, when you got a line of people behind you, you could really spend all day on some curly hair. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not fun to draw, but you do have to keep your line moving when you're doing live caricatures. So yeah, I'm just kind of doing some little loose sketching in there to kind of fill that in. You know, if it's a slower day and you don't have a long line, you can spend more time on it, but you can also do it a lot quicker. And you can also grab like a color stick or something and kind of shade over it to kind of shade it in if you want to. But there again, the big thing with curly hair like this, and I'm also talking about light and dark as well, is the darker hair. Maybe be a little bolder with your lines, and that'll help create darker hair as well. All right, so we're going to move on from that one, and let's see who we got next. Okay, this girl has curly hair too, but she has a little bit different curls to her hair. She has more of a tight. And this is, I know this is not the same thing, but this would be kind of similar to what you would do with someone who maybe had cornrows or something similar. I'll hit those real quick before this ends. But there's her quick little face shape. I'm going to start again up here at the top of her head with her. She has a very defined peak. I'm sorry, part in her hair, so that kind of gives me a starting point there. Now with this hair, and there again, like I said, this is a very similar stroke that you can do with people that have really tight things like dreads and things like that. I'm going to do what's called it's an S stroke. So you can do this. Now it's going to be modified for this. For this, it's going to be real loose. So I'm going to kind of come on along one side, and then I'm going to come along the other, and I'm creating that shape. And there again, I'll go along. I didn't draw the outline this time, but I'll go along and do that outline. And of course, I am going really fast on these too, because I don't want this video to be a real long video. I want it to be quick and to the point. That's always what I shoot for with these. I won't have you guys sitting in front of your computer listening to me for 30 minutes if we can get it done in 10 or 15 or less. But you get the idea. We're going to do same thing. We just kind of repeat that until we get all that filled in. And I'll go ahead and finish that now for the sake of video. And like a lot of times, I really do. I call it scribbling with style. And there again, I'm left-handed, so this side of the head is easier for me. I struggle a little bit more on the left-hand side, or the side that's, I guess you'd say my. It's weird because I'm left-handed, so. All right, so real quickly for a cornrow, if I was doing it real tight, I would do that S stroke. See that? Or even a, and you can even kind of shade that in. If you're in a real hurry and you really need to go fast, you can really go. You can kind of scribble some of it in like that. You know the braids at the end of the hair. But there again, don't neglect hair. Hair is important. And I don't have a paper, but I'll grab another one of these real quick. And real quickly, I wanted to finish up with. I'm just going to draw on the back of this one. What about bald head? Bald-headed people like me. Here's my friend Bat. People who don't have any hair or have very, short hair, the hair that's cut real short. Well, you can come in with a few dots to kind of indicate the edge of it. You can come in with some really light hatching. You just have to be real light with it. Or if they really have super short hair, there's nothing wrong with grabbing a color stick or a pencil and just kind of, if it was a color picture, blue wouldn't be a bad idea, but for black and white, you can even come in with real light, just kind of hit that. Or you can even do that if you got somebody that's got like, a little bit of curl to their hair. I encourage you to experiment with it and find your own techniques. Hopefully these will give you the basics, and I've tried to cover as much as I can in this quick little video. Real quickly before I go, since this guy's got a beard, same thing with beards and mustaches. They're going to follow the shape of the face. So when I'm doing a goatee, I'm even still using almost that dagger. I call that a dagger stroke, where you kind of just come down hard for your darker areas and kind of light. Mustache. But there again, you know, there's thousands of different hairstyles. There's different colors and textures to hair. You know, spend some time looking at it, and you know, it's a problem-solving thing. You figure out how to do it quickly and how to put it down with, there again, with the most amount of information with the least amount of strokes when you're working fast. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope this helps you, and I hope it wasn't confusing. You guys have a great day.